Welcome to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. We are going to be reviewing that game between Athletic and Barcelona that has finished a very high scoring 0-0 draw. So first of all, thank you very much for joining me here today for reviewing this game, because I know it would have been quite easy just simply to ignore this game, pretend it never happened and just move on with your life. So thank you here for joining me, guys. We are going to be dissecting the game, looking at what went down and ultimately what we could have done better, because there was a lot that we can improve on in this game. There was a poor performance all round and ultimately 2 points dropped, but could it be, in the end, 1 point gained? And I say that simply because, yes, it's a 0-0 draw, it was a poor performance, we're going to come on to all of that, we're going to come on to Ernesto Valverde's poor decision making in terms of the lineup, in my personal opinion, but looking at the league table, that now sends us 6 points clear of Real Madrid, and ultimately, we're lucky not to have lost this game. There were some big moments out there. Athletic played very well in front of their own fans, as we knew they would, and ultimately, we're probably lucky in the end to get out of here with a draw and with that 1 point. So I'll certainly take that, I'll take that on board, I'll take the point. It's not the end of the world, it's not a disaster, but let me make this absolutely clear, we have to improve. We absolutely have to improve. We've got some big problems. Arthur is not going to be in the team for 3-4 weeks. Valverde needs to find a solution. Dembele coming back in now, concern over Messi. We have to improve drastically here. Valverde has to give us more, he has to be better with his selections, and with that in mind, we are now going to move on to what our lineup looked like at San Mames. And for me, before a ball had even been kicked tonight, there was several things wrong with the team that Ernesto Valverde put out. Ter Stegen in goal, we're going to come on to him in just a moment because he was absolutely sensational on the night, probably our man of the match by no question, simply because it was down to him that we got out of here with just the 1 point. And Semedo at left back, I'm going to come on to that. Longley here, Piqué, Roberto, Busquets, Rakitic, Vidal in midfield, going to come on to that. Coutinho, Suarez and Messi. Now for me, Semedo at left back doesn't make any sense, simply because just a few days ago against Real Madrid, when he was playing at right back with Malcolm, who I'm going to come on to too, when Semedo was at right back against Real Madrid, he put in a phenomenal performance, a really fantastic overall display. Going forward, he was brilliant. Defensively, he was very solid coming up against Vinicius. And in this game, as a reward for that brilliant display against Real Madrid, he gets put out of position. He gets moved over to this left-hand side where number one, he's not comfortable, and number two, Sergio Roberto gets the privilege of, because he was bad at left back against Valencia, he suddenly now gets to play in his favoured role, and Semedo thrown over here. Even though he was on the left, Semedo in that first half was our biggest threat. He was linking up with Messi, he was a lot of the time our most advanced player down this left hand side. Coutinho was coming inside, so Semedo had the whole flank to himself, but defensively you could see there he wasn't comfortable, he wasn't able to play his usual game, and it did affect him. And I just don't understand why Valverde there is willing to sacrifice Semedo. Time and time again, if he's got the choice between Roberto and Semedo, it doesn't matter how well Semedo is playing, Semedo is the man sacrificed, and after his display against Real Madrid, I don't get that. And then, you all know that I'm going to come on to it, and a lot of you guys are saying exactly the same thing. What is this midfield, and when is Ernesto Valverde going to realise it does not work? How many times now have we come in after games and said, look, Busquets, Rakitic and Arturo Vidal, three very good players, but together as a collective unit there in that midfield, it simply does not work. Particularly in away games, Valverde seems to think that midfield there, it's solid. You've got Busquets here who can protect the defence, Vidal who can get up and down the pitch, he's very defensive minded as well when he needs to be, he can get stuck in, and Rakitic, you know, is a very well-rounded player. But together, they don't give you anything at all offensively. Yes, they might parade into the opposition half, they might play some passes, but they don't really do anything. At the end of the day, in the final third, when you're looking for that end product, there's nothing there in that midfield. And what that does, it puts enormous pressure on your front line to create something. I said in the build-up to this game, I would have gone with more of a front four. Messi central, two wingers, and a striker. Then you take control of your attacking game. Then you can go forward. You can really force the opposition into mistakes because of your attacking prowess. But with that midfield, you put massive pressure there on the front three to perform and give you everything there in attack, both creative quality and also in the final third in terms of finishing the chances, and simply it didn't work. Simply because Coutinho again was ineffective. Coutinho chosen over Malcolm. Again, can you explain that one to me? Malcolm, brilliant against Real Madrid, scored the equalising goal, very high on confidence. What's his reward for that? Not only on the bench, but on the bench for 90 minutes. He didn't even get a single second here, left out of the team, and Coutinho again, given a big chance from the start, given an opportunity, and not really finding himself available, not really doing anything constructive. It didn't work again. Messi played, and before the game, Ernesto Valverde's assistant said, look, Messi isn't actually 100%. He's very close to it, but I wouldn't say he's 100%. So against Real Madrid, he was on the bench, he came on in that game, he wasn't 100%. Here, he's still not right, and again, he's in the starting lineup. There is concern about Messi right now, and I'm so glad that we've got a week next week with no fixtures, simply because hopefully he can get some rest, hopefully he can fully recover. If he's not right, don't play him against Valladolid next weekend. Make sure that he's rested, ready for the Champions League against Lyon. And I really hope that nothing in this game throughout the full 90 minutes has affected Lionel Messi. And I've spoken about the lineup there in so much detail simply because I think that was a really big factor today behind that game, because straight away Athletic were targeting that right hand side. You had Susaeta, who was out on that right, and he was really staying wide for Athletic up against Semedo. And what Semedo wanted him to do was continually go down the line, because look, against players like that, it doesn't matter what side he's on, he can match them for pace. But as soon as they come inside, as soon as Semedo is shifted then onto his right hand side on the left, it's all a bit disorientated. He's not really comfortable doing that as a left back, simply because it's not something that he's used to. Susaeta was cutting in. He was the man, of course, who produced a fantastic effort with his left foot, which provided Ter Stegen with a brilliant first save. And Ter Stegen today won us that point. Simple as that. He won us the point in this game simply because he was brilliant in terms of shot stopping. You had that effort from Susaeta, you had a few efforts in the first half there where he was making saves, and in the second half, Inaki Williams, point blank range, again, Athletic down their right hand side, they get to the byline, they cut it back into Williams, it's mega close to Ter Stegen, and he just sticks out his arm. It's a reflex save, it's instinct, it's a brilliant stop from Ter Stegen, and like I say today, our man of the match, no question about it. We did have a few moments in attack, a few times we went forward in the first half. Messi and Semedo, like I say, were linking up. Messi plays in Semedo in on goal. The goalkeeper comes out, he rushes out, and he basically just gets something on the ball. It falls to Messi, 20-25 yards out. The goal is unmanned. Messi goes for it and just grazes the bar in the process. But ultimately, there was no end product there. Like I say, in terms of that midfield, you get no creativity from that, and then it puts pressure on the strikers. Suarez was pretty isolated. You couldn't really get anyone near him. Messi was dropping off, because when that midfield there isn't creating, then Messi sees it his responsibility to drop off and try and create something. And then, of course, you don't have Jordi Alba. Usually, you've got an outlet there on the left-hand side who can give you something going forward. Sergio Roberto wasn't really able to give us much on the right-hand side, and Coutinho, like I say, didn't give us a great deal. So in terms of creating things, we simply didn't. A lot of the time, we were working the ball, it was too slow, there wasn't enough movement, we were very static today, and then in the end of it, we just crossed it in the box to absolutely no one. And it was a case of doing that over and over again, hoping for something. There was a lot of calls throughout the game for handballs and things like that. We were desperate, really, for a penalty, because that was the only way today we were going to win this game. We were down to the bare bones. Alenia comes on. I think it was too late, to be honest. We could have started with him and had something different there, a bit of a different dimension in that midfield. Dembele came on as well, but he didn't look as though we had enough time, really, to gel in the game and give us something off the bench, even though I don't know whether he's fit to start. And then you're looking at it and you're thinking, is a point here a good result? Because Athletic certainly had their chances. You talk about the Williams one, there was a brilliant counter in the second half. They went down the other end in a matter of seconds. It's cut back to San Jose on the edge of the box. He volleys it very close to going in. And you're looking at it, it is a tough game. Athletic away is never ever an easy occasion. Real Madrid, though, are back in form. They've beaten Atletico this weekend. They're certainly on the charge right now. And we are going to need to improve, not only to do the La Liga title, not only to stay clear in top spot, but also you think about the Copa del Rey, the second leg. That's a big game at the Bernabeu that we'll need to be better for. And the Champions League, the games against Lyon. And what this does is, it's not a disaster, it's not the end of the world, we've still drawn the game, but it doesn't really inspire you, does it? You don't really sit here now, you're not thinking, I'm incredibly confident. And we're not, simply because right now, we're not playing well. And I think the next week is absolutely massive. Leading up now, we've got a nice rest, no games in midweek. Valverde can get on the training field and just put some life back in these players, just put some life back in our play, because we need to do something, we need to change something to really up our game. Right now, we're not good enough, we're not playing well enough, we're not working the ball well enough, our movement on and off the ball is not good enough. You look at Manchester City today, the kind of intensity that he played with, the kind of cutting edge in the final third, when you've got a chance, when you've got the ball in the final third, working it and really delivering that killer pass and then the finish. We didn't have anything like that today. We didn't even look like producing any of those moves you saw at Man City today against Chelsea. They scored 6 goals, 4 of those in the first half. It was lightning quick. They came out with that intensity, that fire in their belly, that belief, that confidence. And today, in the first 10 minutes of Barcelona game, you knew it wasn't going to happen. We didn't look like we had it in us. We didn't look like we had the energy, the intensity to go out there and get a result and play well. And it didn't happen. It all stemmed from the lineup. The players out there today didn't do enough. And in the end, Barcelona with a goalless draw in La Liga. So leave your thoughts on the game in the comments down below, guys. Not a great result for us today, but lots more videos coming up on the channel. Thank you again here for joining me. I'll see you next week with more videos. But until then, as always, Visca el Barça.
Barça, Barça.